Okay, hi everyone, hi guys, and welcome to Conversation here in Soko House with myself, Azania Stewart. Before I introduce my fantastic guests, just some house rules, I guess. I am filming for a YouTube short, so nobody will be in the camera, so no face, no case, basically. And also I just want to open up the floor, so if we're talking and you feel like you want to ask a question, just put your hand up and then we'll hand you a baby mic, and then that way we can hear your fantastic question later on. So yeah, perfect. All right, so just introducing a little bit about myself. I am a retired basketball player, played in the 2012 Olympics, have a Commonwealth silver medal under my belt. We didn't get sound effects.
We'll add them in post.
So got a silver medal, and then came out of. So I retired once before in 2018, and then so I played 10 years professionally, and then in the pandemic 2020, I came out of retirement and played with the London Lions, and played 2 seasons there, and that's where I started to double up, and this is called life after the game, and just being able to talk about life after the game, and that's where I started to play my game, and then I would commentate, and I would commentate the men's games, and that's where I met Ovie Soko, and then we both retired last season and started our new, and started our new journey with British basketball in Sky Sports, and that's where we met the lovely Jeanette. So I'm gonna give them their flowers, and I've done like a little bio. So Ovie Soko is a British former professional basketball player turned television personality. He gained widespread recognition for his appearance on Love Island in 2019.
You're not going to let me live?
Yes, sorry, I have to. Before his TV stint, Ovie had a successful basketball career playing in various European leagues and representing British national team. He's known for his charismatic personality and many business ventures. He's including in hosting British Basketball League on Sky Sports with myself and Jeanette. And also, I just found out a couple of weeks ago, you're an author of a book. You Are Dope. Let the power of positive energy into your life.
I love that.
So I love that. I didn't know that about that. So can you get me a copy, please? Thank you very much. And then Jeanette Kwakye, we need to enter. Is a retired British sprinter. She specialised in 100 metres and 4x1. Jeanette gained recognition for her achievements in athletics, including representing GB in 2008 Beijing Olympics. In 2008, she became the first British sprinter to reach the Olympic final.
For a long time, yeah.
Yes.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah, that's a clap.
Appreciate that, thank you.
Post-athletics, Jeanette's transitioned into sports media, establishing herself as a respected commentator, host, and pundit, and really elevating and her skills from track and field. She has contributed to various broadcasts and discussions related to athletics and various sports as basketball, football, and boxing.
Boxing, yeah.
Boxing. Jeanette's articulate insights and engaging presence have made her a sought-after figure in the world of sports commentary, showcasing your life in sports. And also, I have to shout out one more thing, is that you also received an MBE for your service in sports and sport.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you. So that's all the reading, bio, all that over. How are we guys feeling?
We're really good. I love that you've done that in front of our boss who sat here at the front row.
No, my boss is at the front. Thanks, Daniel. Obviously I've been working on this for a while, and I was feeling like quite nervous and maybe still a little bit now, and it was funny. One of my friends sent me a picture of me shooting in the O2 final, and he said she wasn't nervous, and I was like, you're right. And I thought this was perfect for this conversation about how our transition from sports and what we learn and being number one into now and what we use. So yes, I'm a little bit nervous, but it's so good. In a game, you get those butterflies. You shouldn't really lose them. So anyway, enough talking from me. This kind of transitions me into my first question, and that is, at what point in your playing career did you start to feel the pressure, if any, that it's time to move on? So I'll start with you, Jeanette.
Thanks, Z. First of all, thanks for asking me to do this. There's not many people that I come out and do this for, and you know that's true. So yeah, I appreciate this. I know how important it is to talk about this journey in the right type of spaces. I think for me, I went through my track and field career and I had to manage a lot of injuries a lot of the time. So it was really difficult knowing that you're very good at something, but then your body's not always allowing you to be the best when it needs to be. So that then forced me in the position sometimes to have to look away from the sport, as a way to make sure that I could stay sane and I wasn't just thinking constantly about getting back on the track, but also just to be in a position whereby actually, this doesn't last forever, does it? You always know, as a sports person, you retire twice. You retire from your professional sport and then you retire from whatever career you go into after that. So yes, it was always at the back of my mind, but I felt that this was the space, the broadcasting space, where probably I could thrive. I think that I had a few decisions to make when I was much younger, whether or not I wanted to be a pro athlete versus move into the media space. And had a really insightful, enlightening conversation with a man called Rodney Hines, and he's the sports editor of a newspaper called The Voice. It's a black newspaper in the UK. And I sat down with him very early, and I must have been about 20 years old, and he said, whilst you've still got the legs, always go for the sport. The media will always be there. So I took that advice on board, knowing that eventually I'd step into this space. But unfortunately for me, my hand was kind of forced with it when 6 weeks before London 2012, I got a really nasty Achilles injury, which meant that I couldn't be part of that team. It was devastating. But what that then did mean, typical broadcasters, knowing that an athlete's not going to the games, they'll give you a call during the games. Oh, we're really sorry about your injury. No, you're not. Would you like to come on our show? I'll be like, okay, sure. So, there was always that. And that kind of gave me a little bit of a bug and understanding what that 360 picture looked like to be able to get stuff on air. And it blew my mind. I loved it. I loved the buzz of, who the producers were, the directors, the editors, like how shows come together always for me was something that I wanted to explore, and that's where my journey kind of started. So I always knew that this was the space, but it was the injuries and a few of the setbacks within my sport that kind of accelerated that process for me.
Oh?
Jeez, well, it's very difficult to follow that answer, guys. No, but for me, it wasn't something I always knew I was going to do, and it's very weird how things have ended up working out. Because when I was in university in the States, and obviously I was playing basketball, I actually studied broadcasting and journalism. So I went to school for a lot of the things that I'm doing now, but as a basketball player and an aspiring basketball player, you never plan really for life after the game. And it wasn't until I had like an injury or two after I started playing pro that this idea that the game is gonna stop at some point, it started to dawn on me seriously. Do you feel me? And then, ever since that happened, I think it was after my second year playing pro, I had a few injuries, and every time I would be injured and out, my mind would just start racing, just business-wise, thinking off the floor, like just ways to, save my money, make my money kind of go further, set up things so that I wasn't put in a tough position later on down the line. Because as an athlete, also another thing that we all hear is all these horror stories of people who have gotten all this money, and you see it every year, and they've squandered it. And that was a nightmare to me. So now that I was sitting down and I was facing an injury and I hadn't made all of this money in the world, it was like, okay, well, I don't know how long this is gonna last, so I'm gonna have to make sure that, at each point, I'm kind of looking to other opportunities. And that was where, you know, first I think just the exploration into different mediums on television, the reality television side of things. That's where even the idea, it became a little bit real for me, just because in my mind I was like, why not? You know, let me try some other things. One of the privileges we do have as athletes is the off seasons. We get longer stretches of downtime than most people do in their jobs. So in that time, I was basically just trying to think of other things to move towards. And, you know, as things move forward, one thing sort of led to another, opportunities came by, luck was heavily involved, and things kind of snowballed to where they are today.
Perfect. And actually, oh yeah, go ahead.
I just want to say that I think, having listened to you, that you are the kind of person that would make your own luck.
Oh, well, wow.
Give yourself credit.
Thank you very, very much.
Yeah,
that's
nice.
fair. You're right.
Lovely.
Thank you very much.
for that.
That's so
And I
true.
appreciate you putting your hand up, yes. And that kind of what I find is so cool, and what you said about retiring twice. And really, we win twice as well. And for you, Ovie, it's what I see like on a graph is, you know, we have 10 to 15 years to get our career in, and it looks like this.
Yeah.
And then we stop, and then we start another career where a non-athlete per se is, their life is kind of more of a slower wave, and they've got more time to figure out this, where, you know, even for you, Ove, you've won 3 times. And you've done fantastic and done beautifully in it, in the fact of your basketball, and then you had your reality TV, and then now you're on to your next. So your graph actually is quite crazy, you know. So just talk about your support system and the people who have really helped you in those transitions.
Support system, I think, is, I can't overstate it. It's such a key thing for me. And, you know, something that's actually been going on more recently in my life that's kind of proven this is me and my brother. Like, my brother's the closest person besides my dad. He's the other male figure in my life that I am very privileged to have. And I look up to him. It means the world to me. But me and my brother basically fell out. We fell out and we hadn't spoken. These guys don't even know it, but we hadn't spoken for like close to a year. You know what I'm saying? We fell out, and when we didn't speak. He lives across the street from me. Like, you can throw a stone from my house to his. But we just didn't speak to each other. And my brother's been someone who's helped me with so much of the decision making in my life and so much of my journey. And I know that we all have those people that we can relate to in our lives. But after we stopped speaking, it had a very, very big impact just on my day-to-day motivation, my approach to things. And it kind of just shone a light on, no matter how good you do or how well things are going for you in any chosen career path, it's like those people that you care about and that care about you, value them. Do you know what I mean? Because it really, yeah. It just showed how much my support system has been there for me, how much they've helped me with my decision making, staying on the straight and narrow. Yes, my family.
Yeah, thank you. Jeanette?
Yeah, support systems are, you know, they're really something. I've got 2 kids. My son is 9, well, he'll be 9 in October. My daughter's 5. So when you talk about support systems, I have to have all hands on deck when it comes down to who is involved in my life. Because if I don't, it's a situation. I think that anyone will tell you that you've got a bit of noise outside, it's all right. Someone's motorbike.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah.
Off I go. When I think about how I have to actually manage myself in my era now, it's bananas. My husband and I, we work off spreadsheets. I have childcare. We have someone that lives in our house to help us look after our kids, because I've got a husband who's got a very big job. Do you know what I mean? So he's also, you know, he's trying to strive and do things as well. So it definitely means that we have to support each other as much as we can. And I think I was recently asked, how do you make it all work? You know, you've got everything. You've wife, you're married, you've got kids, and I'm like, I don't. Like, it's a lie. Don't ever think for 1 second if I'm at work or I'm away for 2 weeks working, that means I'm away for 2 weeks from my kids. I'm not the best mum I can be because I'm not present. Do you know what I mean? So it's about putting those structures and processes in place and having that support network to be able to do that. So that does include my husband. It does include my brother and sister. I'm incredibly close to my siblings who, at a drop of a hat, will come and help me do what I need to do. They're my sounding board. Do you know what I mean? If I've got decisions similar to what you said, Ove, like if I've got decisions that I need to make, our group chat goes off. Do you know what I mean? Because we're putting it in, and that's a space where you can be really vulnerable. Up until a few years ago, mum and dad were a huge part of the support system, and then they moved to Ghana. I said, where are you going? Do you know what I mean? It's like, but then that just goes to show they've done so much hard work here as you know, as immigrants, of West African immigrants in the late 70s, early 80s. Of course it was time for them to go back. Do you know what I mean? Go back, chill. They've done what they need to do. It's now our turn to kind of set up and do what we need to do here as well. So honestly, I've got an amazing set of friends. I've got an amazing set of girlfriends as well who are absolutely incredible, and I don't have that set of friends that lie. They're so honest, and that's important. Even if it's down to a broadcast they might have watched or a look that I've maybe got on telly, like they're the first to let me know, yeah, Jake, nah, it's not working. And I love that for me, because that level of honesty, that comes over years with experience and with a level of trust. So to be able to do what we do, especially off the back of that transition, you need a level of support that you can trust. And it doesn't always come easy, because I think that some people always have an agenda. But that's where you've got to, trust your judgment of character, and work with it in that sense.
Beautiful, thank you, and thank you for sharing. As former athletes, we're accustomed to the mindset of winning at all costs. We know that, and that really, and pushing our bodies to the limits. Do you find yourself applying a similar level of intensity or drive in your careers now?
That's not even a question.
I don't like to lose.
Yeah, Zane. You know what I'm like?
I don't like to lose.
I hate losing.
Yeah.
Like I see it in my daughter now. She's 5, and I see it in her, and it frightens me, because I see me and her where. A typical example, okay, we were playing a board game the other day. She lost to her brother. She went crazy. And I was like... So at what point do I then say to her, okay, babe, we can learn how to lose. But I'm like, wow, that's me. Like, I don't even know, be mad. Like, you're going to come back, you're going to kick his ass next time. Do you know what I mean? But it's stuff like that you have to be able to apply it to this industry. The difference is we come from sport, actually, where there's a lot more objectivity that goes into sport. You're the best in practice. If you're the best and you're shooting and your averages are amazing, or you're crossing the line first, you've got the fastest times, you're going to get picked. In this game, not always. It's very different, because somebody else is making that judgment based on your skills. So that's where I really started to struggle a bit, because I felt that I'd worked hard enough, or I'd been amazing enough. And I'd be like, why doesn't that producer think I'm good enough, you know? Yeah. And it's not down to necessarily my talent. There may just be something else they're looking for, and you've got to kind of get with that. Yeah,
and for me, I and my boss at the front, we started this. Sorry, I have to tell you about it. There was this. Sorry, this is what we're just talking about. The winning situation is that he pitched this. This show to me, this magazine show, and it was a highlight show, and I had never done it, but I was so enthusiastic, and obviously I want to win and I want to do as much as I can, because I've tried a bit of everything. And it was this magazine show, and I had to read a prompter, auto cue. I had to have all this thing, and I did everything. I had a meeting with you. I called this guy from BBC. I got the little auto cue thing on my phone and sat in front of it, and I just struggled. And then I remember it was so new to me, and I would get there and then just stand and it was just a heart attack, basically, is what I was having. And now obviously we do guest talking, but she is the MVP. We call her the GOAT. We call her the franchise. In the fact of she reads auto cue and she's so elegant, and I'm just sitting there and I couldn't, and sadly I had to, and I remember it's actually making me tear up now, but we were in the staircase, and I was like, I just can't do it. I just want to win. I just want to be perfect. And sadly, that same sporting, I want to be first, I just was so new at it.
But that's difficult, Z, because the reality is you weren't like that on your first day when you're on the court.
No.
Right.
Yeah.
And that's how you've got to see it. Like, you cannot rush into those situations where you are stood there and trying to do something as perfectly as you want, the way that you see other people do it. It's crazy to think that. It would be absolutely bonkers to think that me as an 18-year-old athlete or you as a 17-year-old baller, you're coming in and you're doing exactly what you're going to do in 10 years' time. Impossible. You cannot. You've got to be able to build that up. Listen, the first day I read a bulletin live on air, I swear to God, I said, whew, and this is on radio, no one could even see my face. And I was like, this is actually making me feel physically sick.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, now, I stand in front of a camera, but I'm 10 years deep into it.
Yeah.
So actually the words that are coming out, you know, we've got a producer called Michael Jackson, that's his name, Michael Jackson, right? And I swear every week he put something in the script to try and trip me up. And my thing is, there's no way, there's not going to be one show, and I haven't yet, I've got a couple more shows to go, and I haven't yet tripped up on it because there's a level of confidence there that's come over time. And Ovie, you be the same, right? You know, of course we want to win. We're built different like that. But at the same time, you've got to be realistic and be patient as well with it.
Yeah, no, I think I've got a lot of respect for what other people do in other people's fields, professions that people make look easy. That's one thing I know from my profession, being a basketball player or, you know, having been a basketball player. The comments that people make from the crowd and you know, amateurs really, you know, the fans, the comments that they make, it blows my mind, because in my mind I'm like, you have no idea how difficult this is. You know, if I could make it every time, I would love to make it every time. But, you know, it's a very high skill level, but that's something that I can appreciate looking at anyone's job. You know, it looks easy because they do it every day, day in, day out. So, you know, my whole approach to the whole thing is just, look, if I had put in the time, I'd be that good now, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean? And until then, I just try and keep my ears open, learn as much as I can. Try not to be too difficult on myself. And have
even
fun,
just
man.
doing it, right, and having fun. And obviously we all work on when we do a guest, and we rehearse before, and sometimes I'm like, I can be better than that. And he looks at me, and he looks me dead in the eyes. He's like, calm down, you're gonna be great. Or there was one time I was just standing there and I was having this, like, I was bitching and cussing myself out, like saying, come on, like, you're so much better than this. And he literally looked at me, he was like, you're fine, like, you're being great.
Yeah.
I think you have a question.
Yes,
Couple questions.
Go ahead, just shout.
Yeah, I think it's awesome that y'all have been able to have professional careers and that you've been able to retire and move on to something else. But the reality is that most kids won't have professional careers. And it's really important that they keep that athlete mindset and that they keep that winning mindset. So I guess, what do you say to your daughter? What do you say to the kids that you mentor that aren't going to be on professional TV, you know, or on TV playing professional sport, to keep that winning mindset?
Do you know what? I don't think it changes regardless of the industry that you're in. It's a mindset. Do you know what I mean? And I think that when I've spoken briefly about my brother and sister, they don't work in, you know, in media or TV. My sister, if we want to really get into, you know, how amazing my siblings are, we grew up very working class, lived in a council estate. She went to Cambridge University and got a first-class degree in history. Do you know what I mean? It's a mindset whereby actually it's being the best version of yourself. My brother's a global sales director. Like, when he starts talking figures, I don't even know what he's talking about. Do you know what I mean? Like, he blows my mind. And the way they're able to put a mindset to their own industries, that you don't have to be on telly, you don't have to be in the media, you just have to have a level of work ethic and an understanding that actually, yes, with a level of hard work you can get there, but there are going to be challenges, you know what I mean? And that's the reality with it. So, yes, when I tell my daughter, okay, we'll get your brother next time, I have to have a quiet word with her in the corner. It's a card game, it's Uno. You know, you'll get him next time. But at the same time, it's also having the emotional intelligence to understand that as well. And that comes with maturity, doesn't it? It comes with maturity, it comes with experience to be able to understand how it happens.
Yeah, and for me also just like younger kids, because I mentor kids now, and I just think it's actually just being in a sport. And how many friends, I have friends in here tonight that I played basketball with, that I'll be friends for the rest of my life. And that networking and that leadership, or just, you know, they might be a shy, timid person, and yes, okay, you won't be an Olympian or a professional, but just those bonds, just those friendships are lifelong. And like I said, I have people in here 20 years deep, and they were part of my team. So I think that aspect of talking to a young child, I think, did you want to add anything to that? You're all right. That's good. Neil, did you have a question?
I was just going to make an observation from my side, working with athletes. They've come from a background of having coaches on their back, giving them constant grief and making them work out. So from my side, working in the media, it's been a pleasure really working with athletes who can take criticism and grow with it rather than get affronted and find it all a bit personal and struggle to deal with it. So actually, what I've really enjoyed through my career, but particularly this year, working with these guys, and I'm not their boss. I just happen to be part of the team that brought these guys in.
You're the boss, Neil.
You're the boss, Neil. Own it.
It's brilliant and it's really refreshing that whatever we say to them, whether it is, you know, a criticism of what they've said or where they've carried themselves in some ways, they take it on board and they'll come back, think about it and work on those things and come back all the better for it without any kind of sense of, Jesus, you just called me this and that, and get a bit pissed off about it, frankly. But they've been a pleasure to work with. I think it's the case with people who've got that background of having people on their case all the time. It's been.
We'll pay you later.
Yeah, thanks, Neil.
Thank you.
It's about ego, though, isn't it, Ovie? It's not about having a level of ego. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's a journey.
Yeah.
Everything's a journey. To become a good shooter, it's a journey. To become a really good sprinter, it's a journey. I think that's my thing to give to kids. It's like being involved in sports, it teaches them the journey aspect of it. With everything being so instant now and instant gratification, sports is one place where it is impossible to become good overnight. It is impossible. You have to be dedicated and put in time over a certain amount of time to where you get from A to B. Do you know what I mean? And B might not necessarily get you a championship, but it is very, very obvious, okay, hold on, I used to only be able to make 2 out of 10, now I can make 8 out of 10. That's what I think you can teach kids like that might not be pros, because that's something that is transferable.
Definitely.
Nice. Questions? Good. Okay. Just a bit of a fun and a lighter question. What is your memorable mishap or blooper? Either a first sporting blooper or mishap. And mine was a game, and I bought 2 left shoes. And I liked one pair of sneakers. You know, when you like a sneaker, you buy it multiple times. Well, I bought 2 left shoes to a game. So yeah.
You go first. I don't know.
As an athlete, and then we'll do on TV.
As an athlete, let me see. When I was, I think I was like 16, either 16 or 17, I just moved to the States. I was playing in a basketball tournament and I was sulking on the bench. I was sulking on the bench because the coach benched me or whatever. And then he puts me in late. And because I'm so pissed off because I hadn't been playing, I was so wound up, I went on and I took a horrible shot, made a horrible decision. I made a terrible decision. And then I compounded it by fouling the opponent. But then on top of that,
oh God,
it was like right at the end of the game. So I put them on the free throw line. Basically, I tied up the game and we went into overtime because of that down and back. And I'd been in for like 25 seconds. And then we went on to lose the we went on to lose. And then after, like, everyone, it's just that feeling when you're the one who fucked up in the group. And all of your teammates are all in the room, everyone's just there, and it's that awkward silence, and you know you're shit the bed.
You're the one.
You have ruined it for everyone in the room.
Did you apologise?
Nah.
Why? What?
Nah, it was speechless. I was in shock.
You didn't apologise?
I was in shock.
Jesus.
I didn't think it could have went so wrong. I didn't think it could have went so left.
I mean, do you know, I was thinking about this earlier, and in my actual career, I can't think of one that jumps out. I was quite a straightforward person, like, you know, I maybe missed a flight once or twice, you know, just missed a flight. But there is one story I do want to tell. I was part of a relay team, okay? And with the Olympic Games in Beijing, okay? And we'd made the final of this 4x1 relay team. I'm first leg runner. Now, the reason why I like first leg, yeah, I was a good starter. I could get out of the blocks quite quickly. But I also like the lack of responsibility. So once I handed it over, I was like, sis, you're on your own, sis. Go. So that's why I love the first leg. So anyway, as you do, Olympic final. Now, the difference with this Olympic final, America weren't in this final. The USA were out. They messed up in the heats. Well, Russia were in, Jamaica were in, we were in. But with the USA out, it just meant this was more open. And we'd had quite a good camp, great championships. Now, before you go onto the track, okay, there's a room, it's called the call room. Now, in this room, you've got about 20 minutes whereby you're sat there with the rest of your team, you're sat there with all the nations. And the GB girls, we were all sat together. There were 4 of us, obviously, the strike 4, the final 4. And opposite us, so just this couch here with the Jamaican girls. Now, the Jamaican girls, they're loud, they're about it, they're having a great time. And at the time, you know, Shelly-Ann Fraser-Price is part of that team. So as I'm sat there now, I'm looking at one of my teammates, guys, and she's looking through her bag, and I'm thinking, oh my God, what's the matter? What have you lost? She goes, oh, I can't find my shoes. So I looked at her, I said, sis, they're on your feet. And I said, this is a situation. I said, oh my God. And it made me think in that moment, you speak about nerves.
Yeah.
You get to a point whereby actually you are so completely gone, I can't get you back at that point. Do you know what I mean? It's really difficult.
What part of the leg was she?
I don't want to give it away too much. I'm trying to give her some grace here. But anyway, the reason why I bring that story up is because, yes, she obviously the shoes were on her feet and she took a breath and we said, okay, you need to calm down. But what then happened was the leg that she was on, the girl that was running into her, you can work it out, the girl that was running into her, in practice, they nailed it every single time. They were the fastest in practice. They were absolutely on it. Like, they could do it eyes closed. And in the final, they dropped the baton. And it really made me think, that's the Olympic final. It's the biggest thing that we're probably ever going to be part of. We could have got a medal. And you know, at the time, it was us and Jamaica in the lead, and Jamaica also messed up as well. In the end, I think Belgium went on to win it. And it was just one of those races where it was so open. But if you're not on it on that day, it just happens. But yeah, like we speak about nerves, that's when it completely takes you out. So it's not my blunder, but I was definitely part of that. Set up, crazy business.
Wild.
Crazy.
And a TV one, I think it happened to us the other week, and I called you both because I was panicking. I'm panicking. We had finished our show. We don't say and cut because it's not a movie, but everyone's like, congratulations, like, well done, good show. You thanking everyone in the gallery, whatever. And then my friend who lives in Romania is playing. She recorded that live TV was still happening. So we were told we were off air. But then we're clowning and messing about and talking and shouting and dancing. And I was like, send it to me all now, because we obviously just talk. We talk shit, you know what I mean? You just talk, having a great time. And so I literally called them. I was like, guys, we were still on
She
air.
made me panic.
Yeah,
I was like, oh my God, what was I doing?
I was like, what did we say? And so for me, that was the first time I learned, like, even though we finished TV, the mics and cameras and stuff like that are still rolling. Yeah. Did you have one on Love Island anywhere or no?
I don't know. I haven't watched it back.
What?
So I don't know. Nah, man. I seen shit on Instagram and all that.
But you never watched it back?
Nah, hell no. That would freak me out.
That's really
That would really freak me out. That would freak me out. Because I was there, so to see it in like another light, or to see it
and
kind
also
of
edited.
Because it's edited, isn't it? So to have a memory of it and then have someone show you something, I would feel like I'm on an episode of Black Mirror or some shit like that.
It's true,
you know
actually.
What I'm saying? That's how I feel like.
Yeah.
But on Good, I think it was Good Morning Britain. There's like there's a segment where they go to like, I don't know if they go to the beach specifically, but that time around we were at the beach and I had one line. I said the line and then you know how it goes to the music and it kind of fades out. We were out of visual, but you could just hear me saying, "Oh shit, it's cold as hell." because it was live.
Oh, God.
It was live. So yeah, like the end of the scene, we're supposed to run into the water. So we run into the water, and I'm thinking we're off, but that was my.
Did they call you back?
I haven't gotten a call, but no. But you know, everyone said that they had fun. My management messaged me immediately. Ovie, great one. Been on TV 30 seconds, one swear word.
Yeah.
I was like,
Perfect. Thanks for sharing that. Okay, both of you
Oh,
explain.
question.
Oh, excuse me, Nina. Yeah.
Question, because you were surprised about Ovie never watched the show. It's not scouting, is it?
Oh yes.
Are you still watching your shows? Like, did you scout yourself?
Okay, so do I rewatch my shows? It is really cringy when I hear my voice back. I'm like, oh. But actually, the same way we watch, like you're saying, scout, when we play basketball, we have to watch the opponent, we watch ourselves, where we can be better. And I do the same. Not a lot, but I feel like I can catch so many different things when you, just like scouting, you watch yourself, how you position yourself in the camera. I find I say a lot, so how can I stop saying we have our special words. When you're on camera and when I commentate, it's a job that I've never experienced where you have to think, listen, talk, and look and check stats. Like, so your mind and your voice and your ears, and you have the producer, the editor, there's so many things that your head is exploding that I had never really experienced before. So yeah, I do go back and try and not say his word. I know is 100%.
Yeah.
So you catch yourself because you're thinking and you're doing all these things so many times. Your brain is exploding. So you just find yourself. Mine's lovely or nice. That's a lovely shot. That's a nice move. And so when I go back and look, I'll kind of readjust, and for him I'll be like 100%, yeah, 100%. And I think yours is,
I've got a few.
Yeah,
when I first started, it was Indeed.
Or absolutely.
Like, who the hell? Like, Indeed. What the hell is that?
Yeah, Indeed, or absolutely. That's
Indeed. Yeah, like it's Indeed.
And so, do you
That's
watch
mad.
any shows? Do you go
Yeah,
back?
yeah, no, I have to.
Yeah.
I think it's key. I don't. If I make a mistake on air, I've had to learn, especially in the last 5 years or so, to just get over it really quickly. Like I'm incredibly experienced when it comes down to live TV. And the thing about live, you're going to make mistakes. Do you know what I mean? It's just part of the gig, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that, you know, if you're talking down the line and you're talking to camera and you make a mistake, you have to move on so quickly because it just messes you up for the rest of the broadcast. So that's a big part of me where I've had to kind of maybe watch that back. And in my mind, in that moment, it feels like the biggest mistake on the planet. When I watch it back, I can't even notice it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So a lot
And
of
that
it is your
one
perception.
mistake also,
Yeah.
which is my next kind of question
Yeah.
is about failure, but that one mistake somehow always sticks in my head.
All the time.
Like I'm like, oh, I ruined that,
Yeah.
but you forget about your whole 2-hour show
Yeah.
that you've just
Just
killed, or you feel
That
really
one
good, but that
stupid
one
mistake,
mistake is just like.
Yeah, why? 100%.
But anyway, this is my next question, which is fantastic, which talks about failures. But both of you have experienced the highs and lows, of being a top athlete, where failures are often seen as vital parts to success. What has been a failure from your playing career that has stood out the most, but was pivotal in the moment of kind of, you know, making you refocus and turn it around?
Yeah. You wanna go? I mean, do you know, I don't know.
Like a big failure, or is there?
Yeah, failure's strong.
Yeah,
I don't like the word.
Failure.
Yeah.
Okay, so I
the
just
word.
throw this one out.
You've used it, and I think no. I think.
Do you know what?
Yeah, it's strong. Go on.
I didn't make the 2012 Olympic team. That burned.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That Olympic team, because I was just like, because they, you know, they had pretty much the whole roster was already filled for the Olympics. I was still in university, so I would have been one of the younger ones on the team, but still, I thought I had where it took. I didn't, looking back, you know, now I know better, and I knew what I lacked at the time, which when you're younger, you never know what the fuck you lack. You think you have it all and you know it all. But yeah, after I didn't make the cut, I went back to school. I had the next year, I had to sit out because I had transferred schools. So I had a year where basically I could really hone in. But yeah, it was that failure.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was
At
falling
the time,
short
it feels
that
like a
time.
massive failure. Yeah, I think if you're gonna go based on London, then probably yeah, London 2012. But I don't think it's the reason why I say failure is such a strong word is because we probably at that moment did everything you could to be able to make it work, and you just at that time for whatever reason weren't good enough. Do you know what I mean? I didn't wake up every morning and not train. I didn't wake up every morning and didn't believe I could do it. It just meant that for whatever reason, timing wasn't quite on my side. So failure is a really strong word. Failure for me, for example, okay, we take our jobs that we're doing now into account. It would mean that, you know, Neil might send us a list of the dates that we're going on with. I've got that list of dates well in advance. I know what those games are well in advance. If I turn up and I'm unprepared, that's failure. Do you know what I mean? That for me is meaning I've not done my job properly. Whereas I'd like to think that we all pride ourselves, especially as sports people, we don't like to lose.
No.
So you absolutely want to make sure that you're doing what you can to put the best job on the day, and it doesn't always work out. So yeah, I think the language of the particular word is pretty strong. But London probably, if we're going to talk about, you know, it in that kind of space, is probably where it sits. It was devastating not to be able to make that team, but it just meant that actually it accelerated the next part of my career, which is where, you know, where I'm sat with you guys today.
Love that. Okay. In the world of sport, it's always under the spotlight, and results are public, salaries are public. What we do on and off the court is on social media, or in my case, sometimes now there's this British basketball memes page.
Is
so
there?
Have you not seen it? I'm
one.
a meme like every
Why?
other week.
What do they
because
say?
whatever I say.
Oh, so ridiculous.
So where other jobs, you can kind of, you know, you're able to experience those kind of L's. We talk about failures, but those kind of mishaps in other jobs kind of discreetly and under a radar. So how has public, we need to change the word failures. So mishaps
I like L's.
L's.
I think L's kind of works. Yeah,
yes.
you know, it's a loss.
It's a loss.
Yeah, but you learn from it, right?
It's a lesson.
Yeah, it's a lesson.
Yes.
There we go.
How has public L's made you more resilient in, you know, this life, the next career, your next move?
That's an Ovie question. You've got 1 million followers on Instagram. All they do is talk
About
about everything
public
you do.
L's.
Yes.
Like all they do
How
is
do you
like talk
navigate
about
that?
you. Like how do you? It would drive me crazy.
How do you navigate that, especially being in the public eye?
Stay out of the way, man. I stay well out of the way. No, in all honesty, I think sports is, again, to relate it back to sports, but you're used to people commenting on you having a good or bad game. Do you know what I'm saying? You're used to the public that pay their money to come and watch you saying, oh, you're shit or you're great. Whether that person has ever played a sport in their life, it doesn't matter. But, you know, I feel like that comes with the position. It's just when you're in a position of public,
It's part of the game.
it's part of the game. I feel like that's baked into the contracts and stuff.
But it shouldn't have to be.
It shouldn't be it,
Yeah.
but that is kind of, it does come with it. It is part of the territory.
I mean,
I think.
no, I hear it, and I think that. Can I just say? I think with you it's different. Look, you're a handsome guy, yeah. So you probably get like, no, it's true, isn't it? So you probably
You
get
get away with
a
it.
certain, you get away with certain things, you know.
I don't.
You don't think so? There's a certain level of scrutiny that people don't really check it. Your face just kind of distracts them.
I feel like
So this is how we are. I just tell him straight, like, yeah, you know.
I honestly don't think I say enough to. I don't think I do enough to. You know what I'm saying? I don't think I do scoot. You rattled me.
Sorry, pull my hat falls off. Saying that though, there was one time. Okay, so I was on a production. It was an athletics production. I was anchoring the athletics, and my panel that day. Okay, my panel that day was Michael Johnson, 400-meter runner, Denise Lewis, and Jessica Ennis-Hill. Right, and I was hosting. So that meant for the first time in a long time on the BBC, there were 4 black people on a production, and at the time, I mean, I'm talking to a couple of Olympic champions. Well, I mean, not a couple, 3 Olympic champions,
yeah.
multiple gold medalists, like world record holders. And as I'm sat there, you know, I'm in awe, and I can't believe this is my job. I come off and I'm on social, and someone's messaged me, "Oh my God, is this Africa TV?" I thought, whoa.
Mad. What they said.
And it stopped me in my tracks because I was like, damn. Like, that is crazy to me because you are so affronted by the fact that actually there are 4 people on that panel that are well within their rights to be there, but you want to ask me if it's Africa TV? Are you sick? Like, that for me made me laugh out loud because I'm like, okay, if you replace one person with a white person, does that make you feel a bit better? Like, and it is that kind of stuff that, as a presenter, you kind of sit at that intersection of being a woman and being black and being massively, you're hyper visible, and like, if you don't see that often, it gets people's backs up. Do you know what I mean? So those are the kind of things that I see on social. No one really ever tells me that I'm terrible. I like that, which is nice.
Well, you're not.
But they probably think it. Do you know what I mean? But they don't feel compelled enough to tell me. Sorry, I'm something in my eye. They don't feel compelled enough to tell me on social. When they do, yeah, I might have had a bad day that day. I'll take it on the chin. But you can't really think about it too much, can you?
Nah, you can't. And with that being said, it's like everyone always says, "Oh, don't look at it." Da-da. If you see it, you'll feel some kind of way. Like, you're human. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, just having a sort of.
And yet again, that's the
separation
same thing
from
about like that one comment. That, you know,
that is what it is, though.
It ruins it where there's
Ridiculous.
all those really nice comments.
Ridiculous.
Just a quick one for you, Jeanette. Just talking about a little bit touched on it. Just the balancing. How Jeanette has come from Manchester. She double booked herself, so I don't know if this is balance or not. But like, you know, you did the marathon yesterday for BBC. You host a British Basketball League. She does morning radio early in the morning. Sometimes she leaves after British Basketball and goes, and you go voiceovers. You just finished the show, Martin Lewis Money show.
Yeah, it's crazy.
How are you able to balance all of these things? You feel like I can do it all, or
Yeah.
I did have a go at you the other day
You did.
because I said you're doing too much and you need to make sure you book a holiday. And so she has just come back from Ghana and Nigeria, but I cussed her for it because she was, you were working.
Yeah, I'm end to end.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you think I'm a workaholic?
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
You love it.
You know what?
You love it.
I
Should this turn into a bit of a session? Do I need help?
Yeah, a little therapy set. Because
Yeah.
if you did, that was that one day. She had done the radio in the morning.
Yeah.
She came in, makeup. She was right after me. We do a production. We do everything. We finish at 10:30, and she was running out of the studios, getting in a car at 10:45, 11 o'clock to go finish. You haven't even gone home.
No. Yeah, it's bad, isn't it? So basically, a typical example, like, I speak about spreadsheets, but I often, me and my team, it's my fault. I do
Say
overextend
yes too
myself.
many.
Yeah, I do. And I think that there's a mentality there that sometimes I need to drop. It's a freelancer mentality, actually. When the work's there, you just take it. Yeah. And then you worry about it further down the line. And then you worry, like, oh shit, I've got to make this work. So for example, today, I was up at 4. I was on radio this morning, 6 till 9.
I saw that.
In Manchester. So I left London yesterday after the marathon. I went to Manchester. I did the radio this morning, and then obviously I remembered that I had to do this with Z. So I jumped to the train back to London. After this, I'm going back to Manchester, and I've got radio tomorrow morning at 4 again. But the thing is, there's elements of it where I could be going, but then I do know when I probably I pushed it too far. So it's just having that kind of hard stop and being like, actually, you know what, I'm not doing that. And I'm in a position now where I can say no a lot more. Yeah. And it's a bit more empowering to say no, actually.
Yeah,
because
the more you say no is saying yes to yourself.
Yeah, and it means that I'm doing things that I want to do. I love working with you guys. I love working on the boxing. I had a thing the other day, I was telling Neil, I had a massive diary clash where I was trying to look at everything to make it work. Can I get back from Saudi Arabia to the O2 to make this work? The answer is no. Okay, so fine, I can't make it work. I have to just...
Wait, the finals?
Yeah. But I'm with you. The finals, I'm there. Okay, yeah. Just letting you know, I'm there. But we had it was a good chat. We're here, so I'll be there. But it is a matter of actually being realistic with my time. Like I said, I'm a mum. Do you know what I mean? And there's that as well to make sure, and a wife, to make sure that I am giving that time to my family, because that's absolutely key. 'Cause if they're not there, I'm not here. So that's really, really important. But yeah, it's a journey. You know, you speak about a journey. I'm still on it.
It's a journey, man. Aren't we all?
Okay, 1 second. I bounced back because I wanted to ask you about that. So let me find my. Do you have any superstitions or kind of things that you did before a game, and do you still have it now? So, do you know what I mean? Like for me, I always playing ball. I always put my right sock on first, and then my right shoe, and then my left sock. And that was playing basketball, but now I keep finding myself, I'm going out the door, I'm not playing basketball anymore, and I'm like, right sock, right shoe, like, that's, yeah. Was there anything...
You're looking at that for?
No, because that's just my thinking. I'm like, I'm trying to think
like,
if I really do.
Stuck with you. Mine's the socks, and it's ridiculous.
I don't know, man.
My day is gonna go bad if I'm like, nah, take it off, put it back on.
I feel like my one used to be like, it was, I don't know if this is even a superstition, but it was just like tireless working, which was actually overwork. And I had to learn to stop doing that. But like working yourself until you cannot physically, you're exhausted. And very often overdoing it to feel like, okay, on game day I was prepared. Yeah. If I didn't, prepare to that extent, then, I would go into the game and I would just be like, oh yeah, I'm cheating the game, or I'm not prepared like I should be. That was a superstition I had. Okay. But yeah, control, balance, I had to learn it.
Yeah, it's that process, isn't it? I think what you're like, it's a superstition, but it's also a process. That's kind of how we work. I don't necessarily, didn't have superstitions like that. But one thing I did do was, when you, back in the day, before we had our names on our front bibs, we used to have numbers. And I'd always used to kind of like add up the numbers. I'd be like, oh yeah, that's 10.9, that's what I'm gonna run today. Like, what's that? That's mental. To think that, I'd base my performance on the numbers that are on the bib, but I would be like, okay, what are these numbers trying to tell me? And it's a really weird thing to do. But if it gave me a good number, then all of a sudden I've got this little like energy boost. Yeah. Oh yes, it's gonna be a good day. And actually probably no, it wasn't a good day. But I didn't necessarily have a superstition like that. When before,
just more routine.
More routine. And before I when we speak about the Olympics, before I went out to the 100-meter final, you'd have your music, right? So you have your playlist. That's probably one thing that I was on. So I would make sure that my playlist during my warm up would hit certain tracks at certain parts of my warm up.
Warm up.
Yeah, I was really. Oh yeah, I'd have to if I'm getting into my blocks intense. And I'm if I've got it was a lot. If I'm getting into the blocks and I know that I've got to do 4 quite hard 10-meter starts before the run, I want to make sure that whatever's coming on is going to give me that energy to do that. So just before I went out to the call room for the Olympic final, I had it on shuffle. This wasn't meant to happen. I don't know what happened. But then Whitney Houston's One Moment in Time came on. Yeah, listen, that rattled me so much to the point where I was like, why is Whitney singing to me now? It's the Olympic final. Whitney's on the shuffle. But then also, it was the song. I thought I was going to burst into I turned it off. I said, I'm a bad bee, man. I can't have this kind of music played whilst I'm about to go out there. But then also, I didn't call my parents before major races because they would really make me feel emotional. So I'd always called them after. So I never called mum and dad before. Like, I could go a good few days not speaking to them just because I knew how much it would stir up the emotions. So I chose not to do that.
Yeah, that's funny because my mum, if bad news had happened and I had a game, she wouldn't call me and tell me. And I'm like, why wouldn't you just, no, I didn't want to ruin your routine. Yeah. It's like, but now I get it.
Yeah, totally.
Good. Okay. Well, lastly, what advice or wisdom would you share with your younger self, knowing what you know now about sports, the journey, and what's ahead? Do you want me to go first?
Hit it.
Do you want me to hit it? My thing is, what I've learned is, when you play a sport, and you can kind of relate this to work, is whatever shit, like boyfriend, girlfriend, family, drama, you get to practice or you get to work and you leave it at the door. And that's what I kind of had to learn through my career. But now that I'm retired and it's the other way round, so work, I leave it at the door and then I go into my life of being a friend, being a sister, being a daughter, where I was finding myself bringing work home, where before it used to be the reverse. I would bring my life into training and I'll be pissed off and blah, 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 and then bring it to practice, and then that vibe kills the energy, where now it's kind of the reverse, where I'm done for the day. I don't need to be a leader. I don't need to commentate and shout and tell people what to do, because they don't need that.
Yeah.
They don't need that captaining. They need Azania, their best friend, or Azania, so that's something that I've really learned the last couple of years.
Yeah. Advice to your younger self, Ove. What would you say to little Ovie?
I think it's just the journey aspect of things. I think when you're young, you don't understand and everything seems like it's so far away, and I don't know, I don't feel like we can appreciate the importance of the simple things. I think if I went back, I'll tell my younger self, just trust in the basics, trust in the foundations of things, and just take it one day at a time, just the journey.
Yeah, I think I'm inclined to agree, actually. I think there's an element of patience of things, and you say your younger self, I'm seeing it in my kids, do you know what I mean?
Those are mini me's.
Yeah, and I think that, they're mini me's, but with a level of privilege that we didn't necessarily have. So then we're now trying to bring up these kids who have so much access to stuff, and I'm like, okay, I can see, my son's a mini version of his dad, my daughter's a mini version of me, but just without the hardship or the hard graft that, that my mum and dad went through, or some of the things that we maybe lacked when we were younger. They've got everything they want. And so it's trying to navigate that, help them understand patience. And Ovie, you mentioned about instant gratification as well. Just trying to teach them actually to have value and place value on things. Like,
that's so important.
It's like, I don't know if you've got nephews, nieces, kids in this room. When you give a child a birthday card now, the way my daughter picks up the card, she'll open it. If the money don't drop out, she's not interested. I'm like, wow.
This one ain't hit this card ain't hit like that.
She's like, oh, and I'm like,
magic.
Can you say thank you, please? So it's just like, it's understanding that and really trying to teach these kids that actually, there's a level of putting value on things, and that's probably what I would tell myself as a youngster. Value, patience, journey, and just having integrity as well. Just stand for something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Don't be a sheep. Ask the right type of questions all the time. We always saying to my son asked maybe a bit too many questions, but we're ready to talk to his teacher, and the teacher said, he's always just trying to catch me out, and I was looked at my husband, I was like, what? I don't know about that, but it's just that patience, integrity, and just having a level of value.
Yeah, and I think lastly for me also is being kind to myself.
Yes.
Because I feel like the athlete being perfect, always trying to win, leading, that I'm just so hard on myself sometimes, and I just think that kindness that I forget, and I'm so quick to remind my friends and my family, be kind to yourself, but actually taking the advice for myself. It's been really important too.
And celebrate the small wins. Not just to keep tagging on, but celebrate the small wins.
So true.
Celebrate the
I
small
love
wins.
that.
Celebrate the small wins. I feel like I'm one of those people, and there might be some other people in here who they find it very hard to celebrate things, or you might not celebrate birthdays like that or whatever. Celebrate the little wins, man, that you have by the week or month.
Because it's not until I retired that when all the articles or the videos or whatever came out of my celebration of my 10 years and 21 years, one of my teammates here, it's not until you finish and then you see what you've done, and it's like, wow, I didn't take those moments and really be thankful, the gratitude, the wow, look what I did. And it wasn't until maybe a bit too late. Like, I wish I knew in those moments, really, like winning medals and trophies and stuff. There's some stuff I don't even have, newspaper articles and stuff like that. I just was like, meh, next, because you're just constantly trying to be great. You're trying to win, you're trying to make the team up. You're just on to the next. And so, I think that's important. So thank you. We'll open the floor if anyone wants to ask a yes.
So Chicago is super excited because Angel Reese is coming.
Yes.
It's like all anyone can talk about.
For WNBA,
so
yep.
if you could have your number 1 draft pick come to your team, who would it be? And it will take away, timelines don't matter.
So come to which team do you mean? Like
Into
as in
London
the
Lions.
playing team, the Lions, into our broadcast team?
The GB Athletics team, London Lions.
That's a good question.
Who are you picking?
Wow.
For athletics, if I'm picking someone to run a relay with,
Oh, relay.
yeah, it'd probably be Flojo.
Flojo. Oh, with the
And
nails.
just it's just I think you know there's a lot her legacy. You know, there are a few questions that surround her legacy, but I think just this element of style that comes with that, and just the her ability to just not give a damn. And I think that is something really special where you can just express yourself so freely and be so amazing with it. I think that's probably somebody I'd like to be around and you'd want in your team to really kind of elevate and uplift everybody. So Flojo from the 80s, definitely.
That's
I would
such
go
a good
with
question.
Shaquille O'Neal.
Shaq.
Big
Shaq, man. Because there's players that you could argue are better, but Shaq is like, he's one of those characters. He's great. He has a massive personality, but he gives back, and he gives back a lot. But you know what I'm saying? So, you know, by him, he does a lot for the economy, the community, and he helps the kids and the grassroots grow the overall sport around. So I'll say Shaq.
Nice. I am really excited for this new wave of women's basketball coming in, and obviously the London Lions just won the European Cup, so we've got to shout that out. That's fantastic. It's that's history making, but I just think women's sports in general is in this real push, this real wave of excitement. So for the Reeses and the Clarks and all these amazing women, I think WNBA this season is probably going to be the best it's ever been. And also British basketball was just, I just can't speak enough about it. And obviously that was my background and my first love. So really happy for somebody to play with though. I don't know. There's so many people. The one person that I would actually have liked to play with is Brittany Griner. I played with her in college, and what had happened is I had played the Olympics yet? No, that was my senior year. So I had played a lot of European, and I was playing the Russians, and the Russians were 6'8". There was this woman called Luchenko, that they were just super tall, massive, and so I'm in the press conference, and I said, I think I'll be able to guard her because I've played against these Russians and I'm probably the best equipped. Media ran with it. She's going to do this, she's going to do that. And so Brittany Griner comes out, dunks on me. Yeah.
Seriously?
And just thought, shut up.
She just said, hold that. Is it?
Yeah. And there's a picture, you can Google it, and I'm like...
Oh my God.
Yeah, and Brittany Griner dunked
Is that
on
what
me.
she did?
Yeah, because I just said I was, I felt like I was pretty good. I guarded the Russians. I'm good to guard.
She just came and she just said, hold that.
Embarrass me. Yes. So anyone else, please? Yes.
Well, this is just me being nosy.
Yes.
Because I want to know. How's your relationship with like fitness and nutrition and that journey transitioning to being like a pro athlete? Does it feel like a chore afterwards? Is it something that's just like so ingrained in you? This is honestly just from my own like wanting to understand.
Yeah.
Because just your own fitness.
One of my walking partners are in here. Walking, did you hear that? I obviously trained for 20 years, and the main reason I was really fortunate with injuries. I didn't really have that many, but the reason why I retired is I was falling out of love of the game, and when you don't love it, you cheat it. And so I just hated, I could get to a game, if you could just put me at game day, fantastic. But the grind of a week to get you what you need to do to win that game is really hard, and that's what I stopped loving. And so now, I haven't been in the gym. I just started going back to a gym class. It's been 10 months since I've got back into the gym. And all I've done since I've retired is one of my best friends here, Monique. We walk twice a week, and then I put us through like a little bands 15, 20 minutes in the park. We did it through the whole winter. And that's all what's kept me in shape, or no impact, no stress, no demanding, nobody telling me, oh, thanks. A clap for a walk twice a week. And thanks for that. And that's all I've got. And that's what's made me, I'm quite strict on my food intake and drinking. And I think that's just the athlete in me. But working out, it's not fun for me anymore. Where I see you on the Peloton.
Yeah.
She's got the Peloton bike. She's got the Peloton treadmill.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
She works out. You're hot. Yeah.
Yeah, but I'm 10 years retired. So I had that period where I didn't do anything, and then I had the kids, and then you see everything. Your body goes through so much change. And then actually you learn to live with what your body is now and what it's doing for you now. So yeah, I think the only thing, as you mentioned, the only thing that really kind of pushes me along is tech, is the fitness tech. I'm a tech junkie like that, so I quite like knowing that there's a direction in the class, or there's an app that can help me, or not even, doesn't necessarily help me, it just motivates me to kind of get up and just do it.
I can't.
So,
I have to do classes now. Somebody's got to tell me what to do.
And I think that's the thing. Like, if you leave it to my own devices, I could be in the gym for 2 hours. I'll get the session done, but it just take me ages.
Yeah.
But if I've got an app, or if I've got something where I'm on timer, you're regimented like that, so you get it done. So we're disciplined enough to do it.
You've been working out.
You bang out the gym, man.
Yeah.
I just like routine.
Yeah, that's what it is, isn't it?
I just like routine. I like routine. I like getting up at the same time, going. I just like routine.
What time do you wake up in the morning now?
Now 5:30. It's not bad.
Right. Keep the sexy. It's fine. Yes, sir. In the back. Yep.
With your career, playing across Europe, why do you think there haven't been more players or support in terms of trying to emulate what you've done in terms of, not just going to college abroad, but going to play, in Italy and France? Why do you think there hasn't been kind of a replication of that for young players nowadays?
I think that's more of a thing of just in the UK. I think, from being in France and being in some of the different countries, they have the grassroots things in place to where, okay, the younger kids can either play at home, or, some of them, they do end up going over to the States. But I think it's just more so the grassroots thing and the awareness over here. If the kids were more interested over here, the parents were more aware of the opportunities that it could open up for the kids, then, so on and so forth.
And I think more now, obviously, with British basketball having a big professional team and being able, when I was growing up, I didn't have a professional team to look up to, or even a player. Like, when people go, who inspired you, it is Linton Christie, it's the Serena and Williams, and it was other sports, because I grew up watching sports, but it was never a basketball player. I didn't watch NBA until I moved to America. It was my first time experiencing basketball, where now, if you're a kid or a young boy or girl, that you can go to a London Lions game in London, Surrey, obviously Manchester, there's so many different women and men, that there's these actual professional teams to see, NBA players, Ovie, Soko and myself, and be like, wow, you can actually physically, and I think basketball, out of all sports, you can actually touch and get really close to an athlete, more than any other sport. And I think now, with the younger kids, they're able to see where when we were growing up, there was nothing to be able to be like, I want to be an Azania Stewart or an Ovie Soko.
Just on that visibility, actually, at the start, as you mentioned, her silver Commonwealth Games medal. So I was at the Commonwealth Games, I was working for the BBC at the time. And I remember I was at the track that day, and I got a panicked call from my producer. Jeanette, can you get down to the basketball arena? I'm like, basketball? We've not put anything on. Like, why? What's going on? They go, the girls are in the final. And I'm like, the girls are in the final? And it blew my mind that we hadn't covered anything up until that point. But as soon as now there was a medal at stake, I had no idea what was happening. So they carted me off down. I interviewed your dad.
Yeah, she met my dad.
I met Z's dad. Like, I didn't know Z. I didn't know anything.
Yeah, we didn't know each other.
I knew nothing. And I was there. And then I sat in the arena and I watched it. I had to do a whole piece about these incredible English women that are about to... You're playing Australia, right? In the final. Yeah, Liz Cambage was there. Yeah, she was there.
LB.
Yeah.
Elbowed me in the head. Yep.
Yeah, I remember that. So as I'm sat there, I'm thinking, what a product. What an incredible, incredible product. and they've just won a silver medal. And it's what frustrates me is that, yes, the guys are amazing, men and women, fantastic. What we then need to do is make sure that that has a level of visibility that is respectable and it's enough, especially at competitions like that, where people can see that medals can be won. And I think it frustrated me a bit that day because I was like, okay.
Oh, it's my whole career.
Yeah, and it's like, wow, and here I am, run straight from the athletics track, I'm at the basketball and I'm having the best time.
Yeah.
I'm like, there should be more of that, and that's what was annoying about that, I guess.
Sorry, well done. Did you have a question?
So for kind of obviously the women's basketball team won the Euro Cup this year, and I know we have the captain who's doing so congratulations. But how do you feel, or what do you think is the next step in terms of really getting young girls into sport and playing it professionally?
Yeah. Well, I think a little bit adding on to what I said about being visible and actually being able to see a professional basketball player. I do think it's a lot to do with schools, because if your school doesn't play basketball, how do you even practice? Or I was really fortunate enough, my school, we tried all sports. We played netball first, but then there was the local basketball team and we were able to try loads of different things. So I do think it's important, the visibility in primary and secondary school, and that's why I do a lot of work in school to be able to start it. I do think it's so difficult, and I was having this conversation the other day about women's sport, and sadly, as women, we have to win a medal to say, look at us, look what we can do. And I've been on teams that have had no funding and medalled or pushed to a place. And then also it's kind of the structure in the fact of, and this is British basketball as a whole, is that we won that silver medal, and then the following Commonwealth Games there was no 5-on-5 basketball to defend that medal. So what are we doing? What is that? That doesn't even make sense. It doesn't make sense. The Commonwealth Games before, you win a silver medal, you're in the finals, and then the following year you can pick, each Olympics and Commonwealth Games, you can pick as a nation what you put on. Hence why there's like breakdancing and like, what I mean? There's trampolining.
Right,
I haven't watched the breakdancing. Rock climbing. Each country can pick. So if you've just won a silver medal and made it into the finals, why is the following year are we not pushing it? So it has been a real part of my career as well, to give back and to keep pushing and to keep shoving it, really, to be like, no, listen, man, British basketball is a massive, just a great time. Like, there was so many people, the Copper Box was sold out for the European. The level, it's not no bullshit level. Like, it's women who are balling, who are up there. So do you guys want to add to that? Because I was getting quite like, it's quite.
No, I just think, I think we're living in a time where there's a lot of change happening now. And I think they've taken the cuffs off of the women's game a little bit from the standpoint of, for a very long time, I feel like the ladies' game, there hasn't been as much emotion being allowed to be showed. The players aren't allowed to react as much as they have in the men's game. And now you're seeing sort of that being taken away, because it's like, no, let them hoop and let them have emotions and let them react and let us see these rivalries being built up in these athletes that allow the crowds to get invested. Because if you put any sport out there and take away the emotion and all of the other variables, now every sport will become boring. Do you know what I mean? So if you allow the females game to have that competitive chippiness, that is there, but just gets umpired a different way. I think
I've had this running conversation with one of my friends that he thinks that they should bring the rim down an inch, because the only thing that's missing in the women's is like the dunking constantly, the highlights and how much.
I think it's the way it's reffed.
Women are dunking. Women are shooting a good clip. Like, and it's the same thing at the NBA All Stars that UNESCO shot from the men's line, and I thought that was really important. Yes.
Me as a soon I will retire soon, and it's kind of, can you consider like you start a new life right now?
Mhm.
And what kind of like, what help you in new life, what you bring from sport, and in which part of your new life you feel like you step behind from everybody?
That's such a good question.
That's a great
That's a
question.
great question.
Yeah.
I think you have to, you are at ground zero. I think that's how you have to kind of view it. You have to see it like that. You are at ground zero. I think there are some exceptions in the world of sport whereby they can retire and they can get handed a job. You know, quite easily they can be put in front of cameras and they actually allowed to grow in that aspect in front of the camera on that side. But like we have already established, not everybody goes into the media. So you are at ground zero. What you then take in from your old life, your athlete life, to your new life is process, journey, hard work, work ethic. You will probably be in a better position than a lot of the people around you because you know how to get it done. Like you think in a very methodical way to be able to arrive at a certain destination. And that's what I say to a lot of athletes or people that are thinking about a career change. Understand you're at ground zero and you have to be okay with that. You have to be really comfortable in that space because you grow from there. I think, you know, a lot of people might look at my journey now and think, oh yeah, you know, you anchor this, you do that, you know, you're going to the Olympics. But the reality is, you know, when I retired in 2014, 10 years ago, one of my first jobs was in local radio. I used to drive out to Reading, to Berkshire twice a week from East London to be able to get a level of experience and make my mistakes in private. So then actually when I then went into bigger gigs, those mistakes, yeah, they were still there, but they didn't feel as overwhelming as they did when I was learning and on the ground. Then you speak about what you feel like you might have left behind. I speak to a lot of women who speak about if you want a family, they feel that they may be on the back foot with that. You know, they've sacrificed relationships, they've sacrificed families, friendships. And one thing I did really struggle with coming back from, retiring and moving into, you know, my life as it is now, are some of my friendships and how much I've neglected those friendships. And now moving forward, I was like, damn, you know, you can't be as active as you want to be in a group chat or because you've missed so much. And I've had to take a lot of time to rebuild that coming into this life now. And, you know, glad to say that, you know, my friends gave me the time and the patience. They had patience to allow me to do that. But there was a lot of that. There's a lot of time I let people down because I had so much focus on getting one job done and training and competing. But, I mean, it's such a scary kind of space to exist in. But I promise you, it's actually quite liberating when you get it done. Like you wake up in the morning and you're like, actually, yeah, I made the right decision and you're okay with that. I think that's really important that you have a plan and understand the processes to get to that next point.
I think you answered that
really well,
wonderfully, to be fair.
And your body doesn't hurt anymore when you wake up.
Yeah, see? Relief. Oh, honestly.
But and also just like I've realised, and we're really lucky being athletes, is that actually the workplace love it and encourage it and want. There's so many things that in a team that are taught, and like I think Neil said about coaches, you know, on us being great and constantly pushing us, that when we get to a job of any sort, and you're not being shouted out for not hitting the line or hitting a shot, you're like, wow. So I do think just going to the next stage, you're right, it is ground zero. And also it's just a bit of like, you don't know what to expect.
So embrace it.
But I just embrace it, but also just move with like kindness and talk nicely. And I feel like you're a fantastic person. I know you, and different things will start to come your way.
Yeah.
Anyone else? Okay, last question.
Yes. About what you would say to your younger self. Because I work with athletes, so like, what would you say to athletes coming to the age where they're now thinking of retirement and thinking of what's next?
Yeah, that's a wonderful question. Did everyone hear that question? It's just about what would we. You want to say it a bit louder?
Sorry,
Yeah.
So what would you say to thinking of it on the other foot? What would you say to athletes that are coming to the age of retirement or to that space of retirement?
Yeah, come into that space of retirement. I think for me, and you guys please after, because I got the luxury, I guess, to retire twice, and as I was coming into my next journey, or life after the game, should we say. I really told myself that I'm gonna retire this season, and I felt like having that farewell tour or last dance, as Michael Jordan had, but at the beginning of the season, and I gave this advice to my friend, is that you say it out loud and you talk to your teammates and your friends, and you say, if you've got the luxury, obviously sometimes injuries happen, but really being able to breathe into it and being like, this is going to be my last season and I'm really going to enjoy it. And it really helps in the fact of when you don't want to do it, your body hurts, you hate everyone, everyone's a dickhead, like you just don't want to, do you know what I mean? You've walked into the arena and you're just like,
can't be arsed.
Remember like, wow, this is my last time. So forget it. I'm just going to put everything into it. And so I really told myself at the beginning of my last season, this will be my last. And that was so beautiful for me to like enjoy the crappy times and enjoy the wins as well. Like, wow, we're winning together. This will be it. So for me, for you.
Yeah, that's nice. That is a bit of a luxury actually, because I think for so many athletes, your hand, like you say, your hand is forced. So I think anyone who's coming to it, I think we're in Olympic year. You're going to see a bunch of retirements this summer, like tons. Everybody does it. You push for that Olympic cycle. I'd say it's the preparation. You just got to prep. You just have to have a plan, because I think that what then happens is if you come out of your sport without a plan, and Ovie touched on it perfectly, you like routine. And if you haven't got that routine as an athlete or a succession plan of what you're going to do, you're at a bit of a loss. And actually your default will probably be, I was going to go back. And you come out of retirement, you see it all the time. Boxers do it a lot, you know.
I did it.
Yeah, you said you did it. Yeah, no, you do. You see it. And people come out because actually they maybe felt the first time it felt premature, but actually it probably was the right time, just that you didn't have the processes in place to be able to facilitate it the way you wanted to. So preparation for me is key. Yeah. I think just making sure you know what your plan is when you're done.
And also I doubled up on having an experience. So I was playing and then I was commentating right after. So it kind of helped me, and I touched that at the beginning, like still playing, but at the same time getting that extra experience after. So I was kind of getting myself ready. Yours was a bit different, right? You had a few injuries? Or?
Yeah, no, I had some niggling back injuries that had hung around for a little bit, so I really could have continued to play, but just where I'm at my life now, it just made sense to kind of move forward. But I would just say, trying to be as aware as possible of really who they are without all of their athletic achievements. Do you know what I'm saying? I think the more you know who you are without every single athletic achievement that you have achieved, now without the sports, it allows you to think clearly. But when being an athlete, which is so often the case, and I've had periods of time, I think my younger self was just so heavily attached to being a basketball player. The way everyone refers to you as an athlete, the way people talk to you as an athlete, the way you see the world and the world sees you is all through this one lens. So now when that's something that is really such a short period of your life and that goes, you can feel very lost if you know your entire being is attached to your job. So that's what I would probably say.
Right, well, thank you both. Amazing, thank you for coming to Manchester. And thank you everyone who took their time out and joined us. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. That was dope, man.